Well, hello and good morning, everybody. I know we get like another minute or two before we officially begin, but welcome and good morning to everybody from Los Angeles, bright and early in my time. Because if you know me or if you've ever heard, so the stories, I'm just like really horrible in the morning. So this is like even if it's 9 o'clock in the morning, it just takes me time to kick in. I don't know what it is with my system. So welcome everybody. I am Beate Gillette. I am the growth architect and I am broadcasting live from Los Angeles. So if you are live on here, just give me a shout out. So what I do is I'm running sort of a side by side. So I have another computer right behind here. So I kind of can see what is going on. So I can see that I'm live right here and I'm looking good. Good morning, Lauren. How are you? So I'm actually, Lauren is the one who gave me this whole idea with this Facebook Live challenge. And I really like it, Lauren. I mean, this is a great way to connect and, and be part of this community or build the community and have people really see who I am and what I look like in the morning. I know. And then, as we go through the day to work on the challenge and then meet again and do some live mentoring later, which is wonderful. Good morning, Ian. And yay. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm very grateful, Lauren. This has been a great experience, actually, not just for me, but I think that we also really making a breakthrough with some of our, with some of the people that are watching live. So let's go over the challenge for today and a couple of details. So first of all, for everybody who's been really active in it, thank you so much for being a part of this challenge and for putting a lot of thought into it. So I've been seeing that especially yesterday on day 2, when we had a tough question, that some of you, were really working hard on trying to figure out what that thing is that you needed to identify. So on the day number 1, we talked about where you even want to go. What is it that you want? And we recognized that some of you had sort of these cliche statements of success, career, and money, but it wasn't really specific as to what that really meant. Then yesterday we went in and we thought and looked into what is it that might be standing in your way. Is it a skill set? Is it a networking? Is it a money a challenge? Really figuring out what it is that is preventing you from achieving the goal. And now you know why you had to have that goal first, because if you don't know what the goal is, how are you going to be possibly even getting there? Good morning, David. Coffee is a beautiful thing. There you go. And now today we are going to turn up the heat a little bit more. So for those of you who have not downloaded it, there is an accountability guide. And I'm sorry, mine's like looking a little bit, maybe I need to give it a little bit more love here. But clearly I've been working with it. You can pick this accountability guide up at growtharchitecture.biz. It's just a pickup page. You put your email in so I know where to send it. And with this accountability guide, there's page after page after page after page where you kind of can fill out. So today, and what you'll see is in the accountability guide, there's a yes and a no here. So it is very important that you have this because you have a record of it, of all the stuff that you've been working on. So when you're done with the challenge and we talk about accountability, about measurement, about really staying on target. So, I mean, if you're here and you do it, you may as well, maximize your return on your investment in time in this challenge, and then have this available for you to really follow the path. So there. What makes me the specialist on business building is very simple. I think I've never worked in a business that existed. I've always been building businesses, even when I was working at my first magazine job. That was a startup, and I built the system. And even when I went to Elle magazine in Germany as the photo editor, even that was a startup. I mean, that's a long time ago, obviously, but every business I've ever built is a startup, and I like building systems, and I recognize that there's a cadence in each business and particular steps. So I've developed a 5-star success blueprint, and within that blueprint, there are the steps that are lined out step by step. And Lauren has been one of my clients. Actually, she's one of my firecrackers, and I really showcase her very proudly. So you should go and check her out, Lauren Messiah, and check her out on YouTube, check her out on Facebook. She is a woman that has really put herself in service of making, especially women, represent what's inside, the beauty on the inside, so the rest of the world can recognize it in the way it looks. Lauren also has worked with me, so when you see me on stage and you see one of my great outfits, that is something that Lauren has helped me put together to really demonstrate what my brand looks like and to get that recognition. So please, always a shout out to my clients, people I work with, because their success is my success. I get the bragging rights. And Heather Conley has been here yesterday, and she started with an idea of being like a premium architectural photographer in Connecticut, and I am proud to say that firecracker is just unstoppable and doing some really phenomenal work. So it just shows you that the system really works. But before we can even get you into the system, we have to do some of the discovery to figure out sort of what's going on with you and what's going on in your business. So this is what this challenge is about, just to put it all in perspective. So today's challenge question is, what have you tried? And has it worked or has it not worked? And this is now and I said yesterday to Deb that today was going to be a little bit more painful. And so what this means today is I want you to look at your networking. How do you network? Do you network? Where do you network? Is it working or is it not working? How do you determine if it's working or if it's not working? Well, it's working if you're networking with people that you're building a relationship that either refer or hire you. If you go and do networking and it's a whole bunch of handshaking, but nothing happens, then that would go in the category of not working. And if you are networking in a group, and then in the course of the conversation, people say, well, what do you do? And then they recognize that you might have a service that might be beneficial for them. And they say, hey, can we set up a meeting or should we talk about that? Then that would go in the category of yes for networking. So I want you to look at everything that you do in the course of the day, the cold calling, the how you put your Airtight Avatar together, your customer profile, who you're going after. Is that working or is that not working? So for example, we had this yesterday with Maureen, and she said that she, was working with a particular type of client, or she was going after a particular client. And I raised the question, is this a client who is broke? Because a lot of times, especially for the creatives amongst you, you go to where you feel comfortable. And guess what? That's other creatives. But a lot of other creatives prefer to not deal with the business side of things like what you're doing right now, but they prefer to be, in the creative aspects of things. And as a result of it, they're broke. So if somebody only makes like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, they're not going to be invested in a $10,000 program or a $5,000 program. And that's why, this is really a critical part now of your discovery in your business. Look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So it's very easy to fill our days with busyness, right? So how do you have your vetting process? Is your vetting process working? So when you go to my website, and I'll tell you about this in the training on Monday, there's a vetting process involved if you want to work with me or consider working with me one-on-one, that actually gives me an idea of sort of where you are, because not everybody's a good client for me. My VIP days are not cheap, but if I get somebody within a few years to a 6-figure business, then this investment is like nothing. Routinely, clients that work with me turn around and within 2-3 weeks, secure huge jobs. I actually had this one client who are 2 women partners in a consulting company, and that is the fastest return on investment. We finished a VIP day, and the next day they went out and they closed a 6-figure job. So it is working, right? So you have to look at in what you want to achieve, on how what you do sort of does for other people, what's the value that they're getting, and that a lot of times determines the pricing. And we had some of this yesterday, where we talked about this already. How do we set prices? Well, your client, who you're going after, determines the prices, and what you're trying to achieve for them is going to determine the prices as well. So again, we're going into now, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And go ahead and really look at this and say, how is my direct mail marketing? How is my social media? Are you having a content plan? Are you just putting stuff out? Are you fingers crossed? Do you have a YouTube strategy? Do you have a Twitter strategy? Do you have an Instagram strategy? And is that working, or is that not working? And it's not, again, there's no judgment, and you don't have to disclose anything that you don't want to disclose. But this is a safe environment, and we are bound by a confidentiality agreement. So what happens here remains in this group. So I really ask everybody to abide by that, because some of the stuff exposes vulnerabilities, and we don't, of course, want to expose vulnerabilities to our clients, but we do want to expose vulnerabilities to our peers, so that we can get over that over that hump, and really resolve these issues and move forward. So today the challenge is, what have you tried, and is it working? Yes or no. You want the accountability guide where it says yes and no, and go through, again, your marketing strategies on whether that's direct or social. Go through your networking on whether that, again, is in person or for conferences, or, how do you spend your time? How is your cold calling strategy? Go through all of this, and how do you determine if it's working or not? Being liked is great, but you need the money in the bank. Unless the success is measured in green guys in the bank. So if your bank account says it's working, then your bank account keeps going up. If what you're doing is not working, then you're stagnant or your balance declines. However, I will say this, and this is what we're going to talk about in the mentoring, because it depends on where in the cycle of your business you are. Because when you are in the first 2-3 years of taking an idea to market, you're of course not making as much money. You're just looking for proof of concept, because it takes time, to go out and tell people about you and to build it up. So there's, really two elements to this question, which is why it's such a loaded question, is how do you determine, and that's what we will be talking about later today, how do we determine if what you do is working or is it not working? So I hope this helps you. Maureen says, I have no real strategy, and guess what? It's not working. Thank you, Maureen. That is brilliant. So that's it. It's like, what do they say? If you don't know which path to go, anyway, we'll get you there. Or if you don't know your destination, any path will get you there, because it's absolutely nowhere. So yes, but be more specific, because what I'm really looking for is these line items of things that you can do and you want to do and that are part of your business. All right. So this is today's challenge. Thank you for being here. We're meeting again at 4:00. I'm going to upload now the graphic and with today's challenge. And then I ask you to put your thoughts and musings that you're willing to share into that, because the mentoring will go right off that. So thank you again. I'm having a good time doing this. I hope you're having too. I see you again at 4:00. Goodbye, everybody.